Hello everyone, this is Ankit Mahindru and I'm back with some more functions on your favorite YouTube channel, The Power of Excel. In this demonstration, we are going to use two important functions in Microsoft Excel, that is SUMPRODUCT and SUMSQ. SUMPRODUCT is a function which returns the sum of products of two or more ranges, whereas SUMSQ returns the sum of squares of arguments, which can be numbers, arrays, names, or references. To demonstrate these two functions, we have set up two different examples. Let's begin the learning. So example one consists of the same sales data we had used in the previous tutorial on SUMIF and SUMIFs. In this particular example, in case we want to calculate the revenue by multiplying the quantity and the unit price as given in column F and column G respectively, then one of the methods by which we can do this is by multiplying the values for each row in a separate column, as we have done this in this revenues column, and then add them up. To save time, we have already calculated these revenues in this particular column for each row. So let's use the sum function to calculate the total revenue here. I'll select the revenues column, which already contains the revenues by multiplying the quantity with the unit price. And the same thing I can achieve without making use of this revenues column by simply making use of the sum product function. The sum product function can have two or more arrays, as you can see in this dialog box in front of you. In this example, we are going to use array 1 and array 2. Array 1 would be the quantity sold, and array 2 would be the individual prices, unit price. Once you click OK, you get the same value of revenue as you had got by summing up the values in the revenues column. This way, we can actually avoid creating these additional columns, which sometimes looks more probable. So coming to the next demonstration for the SUMSQ function. So the data we have in front of us is employees' data with their test scores, and we have been given the task to calculate the variance for these test scores. So a very simple statistical formula that we use for calculating the variance is S square, which is given as summation of xi minus x bar whole square divided by n minus 1. So xi are individual test score values and x bar is the average value, and n is the total number of records in the sample we have collected, and S square represents the variance here. So to ease out the calculation and to save some time, we have already calculated the average value here, that is the x bar. We have already calculated the n minus 1, that is 22. And we've already applied the formula of variance in this particular cell, that is G3 by G4. That is sum of square of deviation, which we're going to calculate right now, divided by n minus 1. To calculate the sum of square of deviation, we'll apply the SUMSQ function for the deviation column. So the deviation column is column D, which contains a deviation from the mean. So the mean is 50.70, and we have calculated these deviations by subtracting the mean value from these individual values. So let's apply the SUMSQ function to calculate the sum of square of these deviations. So these can contain different numbers as we do in the sum function, but we can put all the numbers in one go. And we'll do that as well by selecting the records or the data in the D column, that is deviation from mean. So once we do that and click OK, we get the variance as 250.7668 and the sum of square root of deviation as 5516.87. This could have been done by using direct formulas as well. There are multiple ways of calculating the variance. There are direct formulas as well in Microsoft Excel. But just to demonstrate the use of SUMSQ function, we have used this particular method. Now, coming to the applications of these two functions. So in case we need to calculate the total profit given the profit margin per unit and the quantity, then we can make use of the SUMPRODUCT function. Another application where SUMPRODUCT can be used is in case we want to calculate the total revenue based on price and quantity sold, as we have done in this particular example here. Another place where we can actually make use of SUMPRODUCT function is to calculate the total transportation cost if the unit cost of transportation and quantity to be transported is given to us. Also, in case we need to make some calculations for a total labor or total time to produce a particular set of products, given the labor per unit or the time per unit and product quantities, then we can again make use of the SUMPRODUCT function. These are a few places where we can use the SUMPRODUCT function. Now let's come to the application of the SUMSQ function. So when statistical calculations involve calculation of variance and standard deviation, then we can make use of the SUMSQ function there. Although there are other functions which we can make use of and they are much easier, but SUMSQ function is also an alternative in that particular scenario. Also for performing some mathematical calculations in case of different kinds of series, sequences, and patterns, we can make use of the SUMSQ function. Now coming to the alternatives to these two functions, that is SUMPRODUCT and SUMSQ. The SUMPRODUCT can also be performed manually by multiplying two or more arrays in columns and then adding them up, as we have done in this particular case when we multiplied the price with the quantity to calculate revenue in a separate column and then add them up. There's a function called as SUMXMY2, which we'll be taking up in one of our future tutorials, which can also be used instead of SUMSQ in some specific scenarios. Also, as I mentioned earlier, let's say if we want to calculate variance or standard deviation, there are standardized formulas in Microsoft Excel which can be used to calculate variance and standard deviation as well. That is it for this particular video. Now coming to the question of the day, which I had asked in the previous tutorial, that is, which applications or tools in Microsoft Excel can be used to avoid the mixed referencing style? The answer to that question was named ranges and format as table. So the lucky winner for this particular contest is Mr. Atinder Jeet Singh. Congratulations, Atinder. Well done. So a gift voucher from Amazon is coming your way in a few days' time. The question for the next question of the day contest will be posted in my subsequent video, which I'm going to post very shortly. Also, if you have enjoyed watching our video and our content, please like and share, and also please subscribe to this channel. Thank you and have a great day.